Hi, I'm Leanne from Active Health Clinic, and in this video today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about sleep, specifically understanding how sleep actually works, what impacts sleep, and how you can use some simple sleep hygiene strategies that might actually make a difference. So to start with understanding sleep, it's important to know that there are three main drivers when it comes to sleep. These being your sleep drive, your wake drive, and your circadian rhythm. Now, these three systems are always running in the background, and different things impact each of these three drivers. And this is where understanding these three drivers can help you to personalize your sleep hygiene strategies. For example, what you do in your wind down routine can help to reduce wake drive and increase sleep drive, making it easier to fall asleep. Now, good sleep isn't about doing all the right things perfectly. It's about how these three drivers balance out across the day and over the week. So let's break them down. The first one being sleep drive, which is essentially your body's biological need to sleep. Your sleep drive builds up across the day the longer that you're awake. The more time that you spend up, out of bed, moving, thinking, working, the more that sleep drive builds. And this is where sometimes napping during the day can actually take away from that sleep drive. So think about when you're a child and you're having a sleepover, maybe trying to pull an all-nighter, or maybe waiting for Santa and staying up until Santa arrives. You might have tried really, really hard to stay up, but eventually your body wins. Your body needs to sleep, which is basically that sleep drive at work. It's an accumulation of your need and urge to sleep. So some key factors that impact sleep drive. Being awake impacts and builds our sleep drive. A healthy amount of daytime activity will help build a good sleep drive. And that means when bedtime comes, a strong sleep drive can help make it easier to fall asleep. The second factor was our wake drive. So wake drive is the system that keeps us awake and alert. It's stimulated by things like light, movement, social interaction, mental stimulation, stress. And during the day, we actually want our wake drive, to be active. It helps us function, concentrate, respond, and feel energized. However, when it comes to the evening, we generally want to gradually reduce that wake drive. And this is where our wind down routine can help, and adding in things like dimming the lights, reducing screen time, doing some gentle stretching, some non-stimulating activity, maybe like reading, and listening to some calm music. These things will generally reduce wake drive, reduce stimulation, and allow that sleep drive to gently take over and fall asleep. Now, the third factor that we had was that circadian rhythm. So your circadian rhythm is essentially your body's internal clock. It runs on a 24-hour cycle and it regulates things like hormone release. So the two key hormones that help us fall asleep and help us wake up, so melatonin helps us signal to sleep, and cortisol promotes wakefulness in the body. Light plays a really big role here. Morning light exposure and sun going up signals to our body and our brain it's daytime, time to be awake. And then darkness in the evening helps to signal it's nighttime, time to sleep. So this rhythm is largely impacted by light, but also impacted on routines and habits. So this is why it can be challenging for those who do night shift or shift work, where you might be waking and sleeping at irregular times. It's impacted during jet lag when we travel across different time zones, and irregular sleep patterns and habits can make sleep feel a bit off. Your body clock can adjust, but it does take time and consistency and gradually allowing that circadian rhythm to build. And this is where our sleep hygiene strategies fit in, because for sleep hygiene strategies to work, we want them to influence one of those three drivers that we want to impact. So for example, having exposure to light in the morning and gentle movement is going to help support wake drive and circadian rhythm. Being lightly active during the day in a paced way is going to help us build our sleep drive. A relaxing and non-stimulating evening wind-down routine is going to help us to reduce our wake drive and allow our sleep drive to increase. And consistent but flexible sleep and wake times help to stabilize that circadian rhythm. And to reiterate, flexible and consistent is really important. We want this to be a light and gentle routine so that stress doesn't actually become too strict, stressful, or rigid. If we start putting that pressure on sleep and thinking, I must be asleep by 10 p.m. or tomorrow is ruined, I must follow this wind down routine to a T, then that pressure itself actually is going to increase our wake drive because stress increases those hormones and activates alertness. Instead, when it comes to sleep, with this understanding, we want to aim for a gentle rhythm, some consistency, and low pressure. Sleep works best when we give it the right conditions and then allow it to happen naturally. So this is just a little introduction to how sleep generally works and 3 of those main drivers that influence sleep. There are many more factors that influence our sleep night to night, but hopefully understanding these 3 systems can help you choose the sleep strategies that are going to have the biggest impact and target what's going on. If you have any questions about sleep or specific areas you'd like to explore further, pop them in the comments below or chat to your practitioner for more specific information.